Good morning. Doing another video. It's been a little while, essentially since my last build, the 1972 F250 Custom Coyote swap that I sold on Bring a Trailer. Been considering a lot of different options. I had several people reach out to me in regards to building them a truck, and I'm still toying about the idea of doing that. And so if you're interested in me kind of giving you an idea of what something like that would cost, go ahead and reach out to me. I'll post my email on this video here in the information tab. But anyways, this new truck that I'm building is for myself, and I do not a lot of towing, but there's a few times a year, especially in the summertime, where I tow quite a bit. I head out to the Oregon sand dunes, and we ride the sand dunes with four-wheelers and trucks and just have a blast. I have decided to build myself a towing vehicle, something that I can use to tow my trailer. I don't have a very heavy trailer. I think all in total, everything with the four-wheelers, I'm right around 5,500 pounds. So not terribly heavy. And I want to use a classic truck. So here comes this project. I picked up this frame quite a while ago, a few years ago. It had been abandoned in Oregon and sat out and had quite a bit of surface rust on it. Nothing rusted through by any means, nothing like that. It just had some pitting. And anyways, long story short, I picked it up, brought it back. It's been sitting for a while here in Washington, and I decided to finally get to it. So this summer, right after I built that 72 F250, I stripped everything down that I wasn't keeping, like these cab mounts right here and here. Those are notorious for rusting out. I thought about reaming them out and welding those thick washers that Bronco Graveyard has for sale. I thought about doing that, but I really wanted this truck done right, to my standards. I always build my trucks to a specific standard. I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I wanted it done right. And so I went ahead and replaced them. I picked up these new cab mounts from Solus Innovations. Fantastic company to work with. Highly recommend them. Anyways, I gutted this frame, took everything off I wasn't going to keep, sent it off, sandblasted, powder coated. Before I did all that, I pre-drilled everything I needed because I'm running the Battle-Born brakes, 2017 plus Super Duty leaf spring brackets, and OEM leaf springs that I'm an F250. This is a 3/4 ton chassis, Highboy chassis from 1969. I am running full setup with that. I'm running the Battle-Born brakes, rear 2017 plus, F250, 3/4 ton leaf springs to match the 3/4 ton frame. Up front, I'm running Battle-Born's brakes, 4-link suspension system. Of course, running the Sterling 10.5 in the rear out of an F250, 2008 Dana Super 60 up front out of the same truck. Matching gears, I'm running 411 gears. Again, I did that for towing. Just wanted this truck to be, a daily driver type as well as a towing vehicle. I don't need a ton of power. I have towed several times with the Coyote. This is a Gen 3 Coyote with the 10-speed, and I've never had any issues with it, especially with the 410 gearing. It just pulls just fine. It really does. It handles well, doesn't scream RPMs too bad. It's fun truck to pull with. Anyways, that being said, I went with a Gen 3 Coyote. This has 30,000 miles, 29,000 miles to be exact, out of a 2019 Mustang GT. Again, I went with this route because I have a divorced transfer case. I was going to keep the Dana 24 But I had a couple of these NP205 divorce transfer cases that I had recently rebuilt, and I decided just to use one in this project. This is the factory 69 Highboy divorce transfer case cross member, and in fact, I'm about to bolt on these extra pieces just to give it some structure here. It's essentially a stabilizing bar that goes from this cross member to the transfer case to help with vibrations and stuff. Anyways, I'm running Tom Woods custom drive shafts. Love these guys. They just do a phenomenal job. I went ahead and upgraded the yokes. These are 1350 yokes. Front and rear, I'm doing a flange with a double cardan on the back. Again, there's Tom Woods logo right there. Again, Sterling flange here on the back. These are plenty heavy duty. And I just built this yesterday. It is for the manual shift lever on the transmission. Just single bolt here, single bolt back, and I've got some gussets. It's plenty strong enough. It actually goes down to that transmission mount there. I've got to add a couple more gussets, but this thing is not going anywhere. It's just as strong as the factory one. I'm debating on keeping the factory 10R80 cooler lines, transmission cooler lines, but I haven't fully decided if I'm going to do that because it spits them out up front. Right there. I cut them off. They would have flexible hoses, but I put some Dash 8 AN fittings there that I'm debating on keeping. If I don't like that idea, I might just run different ports up over the frame right to here and put a cooler system right here. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do there. Still figuring that out. I ran one fuel line, got a Dash 6 Russell fuel line. I've got to run another one for the return, and then of course to tie in to the motor. It needs, these Gen 3s need 65 psi, and so I'm running a pressure regulator for that. That'll just go up on the dash. In fact, this will kind of go up and mount right there on the firewall. The return will be right there with it as well. But anyways, I'm running Fat Fender Garage Coyote mounts, front and rear. Not front and rear, but just both sides. I built my own cross member for the transmission. I wanted it very specific to clear this long drive shaft, the exhaust, and so forth. So I'm running a different cross member that I custom made, using a couple other cross member parts that I had. Anyways, Bilstein shocks, stock F250 front coils, Russell brake lines, some custom end links for the sway bar up front. This is a Super Duty, again F250 Super Duty steering box. Because of the steering box and the angle, there is no way to run the stock alternator on a Coyote. You have to do the alter relocation bracket from Power by the Hour. There's just no way around that. Any of the Super Duties I've done, I've had to relocate the alternator. Either that or you're going to have to make some custom mount, engine mounts that would really change things up, and it just takes a little bit more time. I like running simple bolt-on things that can be replaced easily, that are not one-offs. Anyways, you do in a Highboy have to notch the frame right there on that front four-wheel drive cross member in order to clear this. Not a big deal, but it does take some time. Running a Power Master alternator, 200 amp alternator, using the factory R134A Ford Motorsport or Motorcraft air conditioning compressor. I just have some Dash 10, Dash 8 fittings there for it. Let's see here. I think that, so the front differential, I sandblasted it, and then I coated it with a self-etching primer and Steel It black satin paint. And I want to see how it holds up, you know, from the bugs, rocks, gravel, whatever spits up here, since I'm going to be driving this a lot more. We'll see how that holds up. Everything else has been powder coated. Again, as I mentioned, Bilstein shocks, front and rear. I haven't added the rear shocks yet, but I will. I'm just finishing. I got to finish the pitch to match that driveline pitch. It needs to be parallel right here. This pitch and this pitch need to match because of the double cardon. Takes most of the vibration away. Got my emergency parking brake cables attached. I just did a custom little cross member here, just an angle iron piece, and then that attaches the factory F250 cables for the parking brake. Stainless steel brake lines all the way down. I haven't finished mounting everything. I've got to do the return fuel line as well. But this thing is going to be awesome. I've got the parking brake cable up front. These are hard to be sourced. So the Highboy that have the divorce transfer case cables, I can only source from Auto Crafters. I haven't been able to find anyone else that sells them. If anyone has any more details on that, please shoot me a comment in the description, please. Anyways, I'm running the factory F250 U-bolts and so forth, and the factory block there for the bump stop. Trying to keep it all bolt-on pieces that I can easily find if anything ever happens. This fuel tank, though, is an Aero tank. It is a 30-gallon Highboy tank on the narrow frame. It is a mild steel tank, so not my favorite. I wish it was aluminum, but no one makes an aluminum one without having it custom made that just bolts right up. That gives me 30 gallons. Everyone else is about 20 gallons. If someone wants to make some custom tanks, I will buy plenty of them from you. But I would love them in aluminum. That being said, I can't be too picky. So this is a 30-gallon. Uses the factory 2 1/4 fill, 3/4 inch vent. It'll just kind of come up here, and it'll have a fill inside the bed, right on the inside, towards the end here. And I have had fantastic luck with these Phytech fuel pumps. Not everyone loves Phytech. Some of them say they're cheap. I've had bad ones with Holley, and I can't remember the other one. But anyways, I've been running, this is my third Phytech without any issues. It's been solid, and they run great, fire up right away, good pressure. So I'm sticking with it. You got to use what you got to use. This is a baffled tank, and it does have a drain port at the bottom. I think the guy does a great job. He custom makes these tanks and has them on his Aero Tank website. Anyways, using a B&W towing receiver. It's a class 5. I have it actually reversed because I'm running the custom a custom bumper, and that fits perfect. And the way they have this, it's got wraparound strength. There's no difference whether strength is up or down. So of course they won't tell you that, but looking at it as a structural welder, that is going to be plenty strong. I went ahead and replaced all the bearings, seals, brakes on each the front and rear differentials. I'm going to run these factory F250 wheels. I'll probably end up going with some Steelies, but for now, I've got these sets of Super Duty wheels and tires that I'm just going to use. Why not? They're here. I've got them. I picked them up at a fantastic price, and that's what my plan is. Anyways, I've been rambling a lot. This is a 69 frame. It is not going to match the body I'm putting on it. And that's okay. I have titles for both, so it doesn't matter. This is my personal truck, my personal build. I have no intentions of ever selling it, but if I do, I'll make it right for the buyer. Anyways, This, again, Gen 3, I'm going to keep it stock. It will have a custom tune just for shift patterns and cooling temps. I want the fan to come on just a little bit earlier because I'll be towing with it, 3 or 4 times a year, not a ton of times. I haven't decided on the transmission shifter yet. A lot of times I do a column shifter with a low car bracket that goes down, bends, and goes down to the shift lever. Not entirely sure if I'm going to do that because the truck I'm pulling, or the cab I'm putting on here, is a 67 cab and bed. And it is a manual shifter 67. So either way, I'll have to put either an aftermarket Flaming River, or I did it steering column in to get column shift, or I'll do the low car 6R80, 10R80 shifter on the floor with a custom console. But that being said, it makes it a little bit more difficult because I have the manual NP205 shift bracket right here. Anyways, I'll figure that out. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to throw this cab and bed on this frame. I'm hoping to do it the next couple of months. I would love for this thing to be running by the end of the year. I'm getting close, as you can tell. The frame is just about done and ready. I've got a couple things with the fuel line, some securing to do. I already have the oil pressure sender done from Fat Fender Garage. It works really well, you have to keep this original OEM in order to get oil pressure in for it to start. Nothing really else to talk about with the motor. I am running Dakota Digital gauges, so I got to put a port here for their gauge temp. Yeah, that's about it on this frame and motor. Now I want to show you a couple of projects that I'm dealing with, that I'm working on. Sorry, it's raining a little bit here, so you'll have to kind of deal with this. This is a 1970 F100 Sport Custom. Awesome truck. It's a two-wheel drive because it's on an F100 frame. Originally, this body and bed were going on that 69 Highboy personal build for me. But I have since changed my mind. I am very much thinking of getting a short bed conversion or keeping the long bed. Let me know what you think. But I am going to make a QA1 front and rear suspension sport two-wheel drive truck with a Coyote, second gen Coyote with a 6R80 transmission. Essentially making a roadster truck. What do you guys think? This thing will handle well. You'll be able to do autocross with it if you wanted. It would be a lot of fun. I'm not 100, it's essentially a rust-free truck. The guy had the regular mirrors on here and then drilled these, so I'll have to weld some holes up. And it's got a little bit of surface rust coming in through here on that, which is common on these beds. If I do a short bed conversion, I'll just do a whole kit. This bed will be used on a different project if that's the case. So I'm not really worried about it. But again, it's hard to find these rust-free trucks that are in really good shape. But let me know in the comments what you guys think on this build. I really want to do this QA1. Ride Tech does suspension upgrades for coil levers front and rear as well, with a 4-link in the back, just like QA1. I've reached out to both customers, both companies, just looking to see if they'd be willing to sponsor the channel some, and we'll see what they say. Again, I think this would be an awesome fun truck. If you go on QA1's website, they have this F100 that's the same color that they run in autocross. Anyways, awesome suspension setup. I was gonna do this a 4-wheel drive conversion because that's my norm. I have never done a 2-wheel drive Coyote swap, and I thought, what the heck, maybe I'll do that. And this thing would handle like awesome, great braking, low to the ground, not too low. I don't like the too low trucks, but it'll have a little bit lower than stock height, but handle like a dream, like a new sports car. The 67 I'll show you here in just a second. Okay, so this is the 67 I was just referring to. It is not a completely clean truck. It is an F250 camper special from 67. The reason why I'm using this on my 69 frame is because of these mirrors. Great for towing. These full-size West Coast mirrors. 3-post mirrors. Anyways, it's mostly rust-free. It is very clean. The roof is completely rust-free. Everything looks fantastic. No leaks, no nothing. But all these brackets for the trim, they're all leaking. All the rubber grommets are rotten. It's got a tiny little bubbling on each of the corners of the bottom of the door, but the door itself on the inside looks pretty solid, so it's just the outside. This side bed has had some damage. It's been hit, and I don't know how much Bondo's on it, but the Bondo's cracking, and I'm not going to mess with it. I had such a hassle with that 1972 F250 Custom that I built last. That was my last video, fixing that bed to get the lines perfect and whatnot, that I'm just not going to mess with that. I think I'm just going to post this bed for free. If anyone wants it, then come get it. The inside of the bed's got a little dent, but it is mostly just some surface rust. It's a very clean bed. I don't want to mess with it. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to do a bed kit, because this is going to be my daily driver, and I want it to be solid, no Bondo. And so the fenders are super clean. There's no rust on the bed, the fenders, or the hood, but this got a nasty ding on this 67 door. And as you guys all know, the 67s were the only year that had the handle, and so I've got to try and pull this dent out as best as I can, because to replace this door, you have to buy, there's no aftermarket made. You have to buy an extra, you have to go either the 68 to 72 doors with the handle here, but in order to maintain the 67, you've got to source a 67 that has a decent door. It's got a little bit of rust on the floor right here in this corner. These are clean. It's got a little bit of rust right behind this little spot right here where the seat brace goes underneath. That is rotten on this side. It's only got one seat brace that are rotten. The other side's solid. Door shuts solid. Everything on the inside is perfect. This thing is pretty much set. The front core support's got a little rust at the very bottom, so I'm replacing the core support. You might have seen it sitting next to the 69 frame when I was showing you that just a little bit ago. But anyways, this truck, this body, outside of that, well, for now, that bed's going on the 69, but I don't know if I'm going to replace it with new sheet metal or not, or just source a whole new bed. Anyways, this cab is definitely going on that 69 frame for my daily driver. This grill is phenomenal. There's not a dent or bend or anything on it. It is in phenomenal shape. It is impressive to see an original grill that looks that good. Anyways, so if anyone's got any ideas or comments on what I'm doing here, please shout out to me. Let me know what you think on the 1970 Sport Custom that I'm thinking of doing, the 4-link coilover front and rear suspension systems. The front wouldn't be coilover, it's A-arms, but anyways, it will be coilovers, just not 4-link. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hopefully, you guys have had some dealings with QA1 and or Ride Tech, and let me know what you think about that build. That truck I will turn. So the 2-wheel drive Roadster one I will sell. This 67 body is going on my 69 frame. Again, I have titles for both, so it's my own thing. I'm doing it. I'm super excited about it. I'm building it for a daily driver / tower truck, and I'm just excited. It's going to be a fun build. and a fun truck to sport, just driving around every day. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys would like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. I am trying to build this channel. Originally, I wasn't going to, I was just going to put some how-tos on some videos and whatnot, but I thought, what the heck? I might want to build this channel up. So if you guys want to share it with your friends, please do so. I appreciate it. The channel's small. I'm going to try and build it up. Thanks again. Have a fantastic day.